Let's talk about mosaic embryos. I am Dr. Jessica Reinick, a double board certified OBGYN and reproductive and endocrinology and infertility specialist, and this is something that so many people have questions about, so I finally wanted to make a reel on the topic. I want to start by saying this because I think it is important for perspective. We have always been transferring mosaic embryos, we just didn't know it. That's right. Many people who conceive naturally or through IUI or do embryo transfers without genetic testing or transfers with genetic testing before our current PGTA technology have almost certainly had mosaic embryos that we have transferred, and many of those result in healthy babies. Mosaicism isn't inherently bad, it's just something we can now see because technology has caught up to biology. When an embryo reaches the blastocyst stage, that's usually around day 5, it has about 100 to 200 cells. Sometimes not every one of those cells is the same. Some might have the correct number of chromosomes, 46, while others might be missing or carrying extra pieces of DNA. That mix of normal and abnormal cells is what we call mosaicism, and this happens because of errors in cell division after the sperm and egg come together and start dividing. The status of an embryo's chromosomes is something we can pick up when we do pre-implantation genetic testing, or PGT, during IVF. For PGT, we biopsy 4 to 5 cells from those 100 to 200 cells, specifically from the trophectoderm, the part that becomes the placenta, not the baby, and we analyze that DNA to determine if it has the correct number of chromosomes. The results can come euploid, or a correct number of chromosomes, aneuploid, an incorrect number of chromosomes, or mosaic, something in between. Because we take a biopsy of the trophectoderm cells, when we see a mix of correct and incorrect cells in the biopsy, a mosaic result, it may or may not reflect what's actually going on in the rest of the embryo. And as that embryo continues to grow, hundreds of thousands of cell divisions are still happening, meaning the balance of correct and incorrect cells can shift. Sometimes the correct cells take over, sometimes the incorrect ones do. And that determines whether a mosaic embryo implants, grows, and ultimately becomes a healthy pregnancy, or results in not getting pregnant or having a miscarriage. And mosaic embryos can lead to live births. They have great reproductive potential, but that potential is lower compared to embryos where all of the cells are chromosomally correct. In general, mosaic embryos do tend to have a lower implantation rate and higher miscarriage rates because there's a higher likelihood that they are in fact incorrect. But many have gone on to result in healthy live births, especially when certain features of the mosaic pattern are more favorable. That includes the level of mosaicism. So a low-level mosaic has fewer incorrect cells and tends to have a higher success rate, sometimes approaching that of correct embryos or euploid embryos. A high-level mosaic, where more than half the cells tested are abnormal, has lower implantation potential. The type of chromosomes involved. So some chromosomes are associated with conditions that can cause significant health issues if those abnormal cells persist. And whether it's a whole chromosome or just part of a chromosome. Segmental or partial mosaicism generally carries a better prognosis than a whole chromosome abnormality. It is a viable option to proceed with a mosaic embryo transfer once you've had genetic counseling about the specific chromosome or chromosomes involved, and when you do not have a euploid embryo to transfer or the ability or desire to do another IVF stimulation to obtain euploid embryos. It's also recommended to pursue genetic testing during pregnancy, which may include an amniocentesis and genetic testing after birth. The bottom line is that mosaic embryos sit in that gray zone between correct and incorrect embryos. They carry more uncertainty, but they also carry possibility. If you have mosaic embryos and no euploid embryos, talk to your doctor and your genetic counselor. Understand the specific details of your embryos, and then decide together whether that uncertainty feels like an acceptable risk to you in growing your family.